What's going on, Falcons fans? Welcome on into a live edition of Falcons Today by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here following the NFL schedule release with a record prediction segment. Plus, we're going to touch on some of the latest news and rumors surrounding the Dirty Birds. And then at the very end of the video, we've got a mailbag. So if you have any questions at all, please go to the chat, use hashtag Falcons. Or if you want to guarantee your question on screen, super chat, and producer Colin will throw that on. We'll throw it on screen for everyone to see. But let's get things started by getting you all in the comment section right now. Shout out your city for me. Let me know where you are tuning in from as we welcome from above producer Colin. He's not that small in real life, by the way. We're actually pretty similar size. I got him by height, though. So
that you're being very kind. I appreciate that.
Grand Limousine right on cue with a $20 super chat. Let's go. Manuel is watching from Arlington, Texas. Maya's World, Atlanta. Brody Brown, Phoenix City, Alabama. Emrod's in DFW. Mike is in Wake Forest, North Carolina, I assume. I don't think there's another one. But Grand Limousine loves Falcons Today by Chat Sports.
Let's go.
Hey, no free ads, but Grand Limousine, I guess, that's not really a free ad, I guess. But if you need a limousine in the Atlanta area, they're your guys. That's all I can say. Check them out, Grand Limousine. Did not realize we'd ever have a partnership with a limousine company, but they're the best in the biz. That's all I can say. All right, Grand Limousine. Thank you guys so much for the super chat and all of your support. Everyone, spam Grand Limousine in the chat right now. Let's show them some love. Now, what do you guys think the Falcons are going to do this season record-wise? We're going to go through a full record prediction video, game by game, breaking it all down. But what's your record prediction? 71% of the viewers watching that have voted in our live poll have them going at least 10 wins. 10 to 12 in that range. I think that's very attainable. 10-7 for a team that went 7-10 last year. I think Kirk Cousins is worth 3 wins compared to Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke. That seems very much in play. So predict your Falcons record. Get your Falcons record prediction down below. Brody Brown says 9-8. Robert Kelly 11-6. Archangel 10-11 wins. Got ATL fan in the house. Robert Kelly's watching, by the way, from Mitchell, South Dakota. I got Taylor Elwell here. Good to see you, Taylor. Watching from Portland, Oregon, as always. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Maya's World 11-6. L Lore something 10-7. Falcons Prods. What teams do you have us losing to? Because I cannot see 9 to 10 wins. I see 12. Falcons, Prods, we'll go through the whole schedule prediction in a little bit. But we got a super chat coming in from Thomas Guerrero. Let's go, Thomas. I think we go 10-7, rise up. Everyone spam Thomas in the chat right now. Thomas, I like that prediction. I think that is very, very, very much in reach for Atlanta. They once again have the easiest schedule in the NFL. And they've got an improved roster in a lot of ways. Like, the defense may honestly not be better than last year. I don't think anyone's going to convince me of absolute certainty that this defense is better than last year's defense when the top 2 sack leaders from last year are gone. Like, there's just a lot of belief and a lot of, like, half-glass full thinking. And, hey, that's not a bad thing to have, but I just won't be absolute about it. Whereas I am absolute, before a snap gets played, that the Falcons' quarterback position is improved. And that's worth 3 wins in a lot of cases. Could be worth more, too. Thomas, thank you so much for the super chat. You're the man. Rise up, dude. So with that in mind, 8.5 wins for the Falcons in 2024. Would you go over or under? I'd go over. Give me your predictions down below in the comment section. 8.5 wins. O for over, U for under. Jeffrey says over. Axel Perez says over. We got Time Man the Buckeye spamming Thomas. Everyone spam Thomas. Maya's World says over. George Washington is in the house. O for over. Stephanie Langley, give me the over. Oh, we got the first under. Brody. The fuck, Brody? Frank says 4 wins. That's not very nice. Take the over. Life's too short to take the under. Although, I'll be honest, I'm a sucker for the
By the way,
for the under.
hand to
Just in general in sports.
hand to whomever you believe in. I was literally about to say that exact same phrase. Life's too short to bet the under. Come on now.
I like taking the under in ACC basketball games.
Okay.
Also, first month of baseball.
Yes.
I think pitchers are better in the first month than batters are.
Yeah, but those are select circumstances.
Exactly. Very select circumstances indeed. Now, another question I just want to toss your way before we get into the nuts and bolts of today's show, as we let everyone kind of click on the notification and get here for our live show. Do you guys think Atlanta will win the NFC South? Bucs have kind of ran the division the last few years. Saints kind of ran it for a good stretch, in between the Falcons and whatnot. But is this the year Atlanta wins the NFC South for the first time? 2017? It's been a while. Let me know. Y for yes, N for no. I think yes. I think Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback in this division.
I don't think it's particularly close. Now, obviously, that's assuming his health, which we have to in this day and age. Right? But honestly, I don't see any reason that this Falcons offense can be a top 10 offense next year.
Agreed. The one pushback I'll say from just rushing to the altar because Kirk Cousins is the quarterback and Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke are no longer the quarterback. It's not like Kirk Cousins by himself is one of the most winningest quarterbacks in NFL history. No. Like, he's very good. He is a really good quarterback. But, he's not a one-man band.
Yeah.
And that's pretty well proven. Like, last year, they got off to a slow start in Minnesota. He was playing some of the best football in his career. So, it's a team game. I don't think Kirk is at that level where he can just put everyone on his back week after week and win all these games. He's going to need some supporting cast members. But I'll go with Y for yes for the Falcons winning the NFC South. They are my prediction to win this division. Now, we're going to have a mailbag, by the way, towards the end of the episode of the show today. So get your questions in right now. Hashtag Falcons or Super Chat. Grand Limousine and Thomas with our first 2 Super Chats of the day. If you want to get on screen, Super Chat, we'll throw it on for everyone watching to see. If you enjoy the content and want to support the show, there's a lot of good ways to do that. Liking the video, which, by the way, we're at 15 likes right now. That's insulting. Just going to put it that way. Subscribing, commenting, and Super Chats are a great way to go above and beyond. So make sure to, at the very least, hit the thumbs up button. One of the other hosts here at Chat Sports, I think, said it best. It's like going over to your friend's house and not taking your shoes off. Yeah. It's just, be a little respectful. If you're going to go into someone's nice dining room, you want to take your shoes off. Like, just be respectful. That's all.
It's a common courtesy.
Exactly.
Yes, but also, like PD said, there's multiple ways to support the show. We're greatly appreciative, but literally, it's, hey, you Super Chat, you get on screen. You know how simple it is?
All right. We got Thomas. We got Grand Limousine. Appreciate you both.
Easy.
Should we get into our menu for today? Latest news and rumors, as always, and then record prediction. I'll go game by game. Also, I'm really excited for this. Not to toot my own horn, but if you have been a longtime viewer of the channel, you probably know my tendency when it comes to the way I like to script shows. Not scripting like what I say. I'm not reading off a teleprompter. Otherwise, it would probably be a lot smoother of a delivery. Mm-hmm. But the stuff I put on screen, the information I share, I always love to come from a historical, factual background, right? To use that to set up my reasoning for stuff. I look back at my record prediction video I did a year ago. Let's just say I'm very excited to share with you all. But mailbag at the very end, hashtag Falcons or Super Chat. By the way, that mailbag, it can be a take. It can be an idea. If you're like, hey, what do you think of trading for this player, trading this guy away? Or it could just be a general flat out question. But whatever it may be, just use hashtag Falcons in the chat. That way our software can identify the question. It pulls all the hashtag Falcons chats, and then it puts them on to a monitor over here that the producer can pick and choose and throw on screen.
Yes, which I've already seen some good questions, believe it or not. So,
are we ready?
We can be. Here's the thing, Petey. We got 96 viewers. Only 28 likes.
That's not very nice.
That's just not. Can we at least get to 40?
Yeah.
I feel like 40 is doable.
Oh, the Falcons cut a player.
Do they actually?
Yeah. Okay. So here's what I would like to do.
Okay.
They've cut a guy while we were getting ready for today's. I saw someone in the chat put this. Sounds like Well, they were my Adam Schefter today. They cut. I always struggle saying his last name. You guys already know who I'm about to say. Aid Ogunjobi. Ogundeji. That sounds a lot better. Yeah, 5th round pick from 2021, I think it was. Yes. Okay. Let's just do this. Could you just get a player? You guys want to see how the sausage is made?
Yep.
Just do a player bio of him.
Player bio.
And then for the note, just put his career stats, please. And then we'll just open up the show with that pretty much. Sounds good?
Yeah, and then we can get into.
And then we'll get into everything else we have.
Yeah.
Okay. Robert Kelly. I saw your hashtag Falcons. I'm like, with the release, they released him, and sure enough, they released him 45 minutes ago while I was getting ready for the live show. It's always funny when news breaks like that because you think as I get ready to go live for Falcons, I know everything there is to know about the team up to the last possible moment. But there is that like hour buffer zone where I'm getting everything that I have pre-planned, and then I just miss a tweet. Okay, so coming up, we're going to run through the latest news and rumors. The Atlanta Falcons moved on from Aid Ogundeji. How'd you say it? Ogundeji. I like that way more than how I've been trying to say it. Luckily, I didn't have to worry about that last year. Sorry, Aid, because he missed the entire season with an injury. But I had a feeling this would be coming. Okay. Ogundeji. Yeah. Aid Ogundeji. We're going to go with that. Aid Ogundeji. Okay. Aid Ogundeji. So, Aid Ogundeji, that's the news. He was released. He was the 5th round pick. He's the outside linebacker for the Falcons who missed all of last year, got injured in training camp, and move saves $3 million in cap space. Could be to free up some money to sign like a Calais Campbell, although it really feels unlikely that Campbell comes back just because the Falcons have made so many additions at his specific position. James Smith-Williams, they signed him free agency. They drafted Brandon Dorlus from the Oregon Ducks. Just right there, 2 moves, and they have Zach Harrison kind of moving up the depth chart. So you got 3 guys for 1 spot. You're going to bring in a 4th? Does Calais Campbell want to go to a team at his age where he's not even told you'll be the starter? Probably not, right? He's probably looking at that as like, I'm not interested in being a backup if I'm going to come back here. So we'll probably get in more depth in this during the mailbag, as a lot of you guys are asking really good questions about it. But to me, it does feel unlikely that this is a sign of Calais Campbell returning. Yeah, that's fine. Started 27 games, as Josh Kendall points out, from 2021 to 2022. $3.1 million in cap space. So, yep, team announces Falcons are moving on from Ogundeji. So, that's the news. Aid Ogundeji has been released by Atlanta to save $3 million in cap space. Then after the latest news and rumors, we're going to get into my record prediction, like I mentioned earlier, where I go game by game, breaking it all down. And then the mailbag. So if you have any questions, hashtag Falcons or Super Chat. Wallace Smith saying, yeah, I knew that Ogundeji would be cut because they're deep at the position. I agree. A little surprised took this long. Maybe they kind of wanted to see how he would look coming back from that injury during OTAs, and ultimately they decided, hey, it's just not where we want it to be right now. I'm trying to remember. I think the injury was an Achilles injury, but now I need to fact check myself because I don't want to get it wrong. A foot injury during training camp. Yeah, foot injury. Okay, we'll go with a foot injury. Someone knows more specifically, by all means, feel free to do my job for me. Let's see. NC Show, which opponent for the Falcons are you most excited to see, and which one are you not looking forward to this season? Good question. We'll definitely get to that one in the mailbag. A pronounces Ade Ogundeji. Oh, this will be fun to pronounce. Let's see. Dre Jungles. That was the first DC selection, the one before last year. Okay. $3 million in cap space, yeah. This one kind of had, I wouldn't say, obvious written all over it, but It's not too surprising to me. All right. Should we jump into it? Oh, just enter down. Aid Ogunjobi. I'm gonna rehearse this a million times, and then when the lights are on, I'm gonna just completely botch it. We all can't be named Matthew Peterson. Yeah, Taylor. I know. All right. We got Maya's World. Who do you think our Richie Grant improved from last season to battle for a spot against Marco Helms? All right. That looks good. Are we ready to rumble? Okay. Let's do this thing. Let's jump into a live edition of Falcons Today. We're at 45 likes. Hit the thumbs up button. Get to 50 before the time the intro video rolls. We've got some news to hit on at the start of today's show because the Falcons are moving on from 2021 fifth-round pick out of Notre Dame, Aid Ogunjobi. He was released today. If this name doesn't ring a bell, it's because he missed all of last year with a foot injury he suffered in training camp. But he started a lot of games for Atlanta in his rookie year and in his second year. Put up 75 tackles, 3 sacks, no forced fumbles. But ultimately, that position got really crowded this offseason. Now, the move does save a little over $3 million in cap space, which I see a lot of people starting to connect dots to. Maybe that's money to free up a budget to sign Calais Campbell. I would pump the brakes on that. I wouldn't say it has no chance to it, but they signed James Smith-Williams at the defensive end spot. They drafted Brandon Dorlus from Oregon at that position. And they've got Zach Harrison, a third-round pick last year, kind of ready to step up into a starting role. So if I were Calais Campbell, unless I was dying to return to the NFL and only the Falcons gave me a phone call, I probably wouldn't go to a team where I'm not even told I can get to start for them. So for that reason, I'm not in the camp of this is a sign that Calais Campbell's returning. I'd slow down on that front. But the Falcons, I'll always say, can never have enough pass rushers. So Terry, if you're watching, go sign a pass rusher. But let's talk about some other rumors on today's video, like the possibility of trading for Tee Higgins. So I want to bring this up on today's episode because there was a very interesting back and forth that went on the ESPN waves between Adam Schefter and Dan Orlovsky. And I want to relate it to the Atlanta Falcons. But let me give you some background information first. So the Bengals wide receiver Tee Higgins, second-round pick out of Clemson, he's set to play on a $21.8 fully guaranteed $1 million franchise tag for the 2024 season. And he has been a very available player for much of his career. And I think that's important to note, and I'll explain why later on. Although he did miss about a third to a quarter of last season for the Bengals. But he's still super young. He's 25 years old. He'll be 25 for the entirety of the 2024 season. So he's a really good player in the prime of his career. And next year, he'll be a free agent. And you just don't see really good guys at the age of 26 enter free agency. Teams tend to hold on to those players. But I want to discuss the Adam Schefter, Dan Orlovsky back and forth, we'll call it, that took place on the ESPN airwaves, because Adam Schefter was getting to a point of business decisions will be made for Tee Higgins. As he knows, he's basically he's on a one-year contract. It's a franchise tag. And after last year where he dealt with some injuries, what happens this year if his knee starts to hurt a little bit, his hamstring's a little bit tight, his shoulder's in pain? Do you think that's going to be a player that plays through those injuries despite not having any guaranteed money waiting for him beyond 2024? Or will he decide to shut it down, stay healthy, get healthy, so he can get paid next offseason? Now, this is a major testimony to Tee Higgins' character. And I don't know Tee Higgins personally at all. Never met the guy. So I can't say as to whether or not he'd be someone to, make a business decision, what's best for T versus what's best for the Bengals, and shut it down so he can get healthy. But if the Bengals are afraid that he could make that business decision where it wouldn't take a whole lot for Tee Higgins to go, yep, if you guys don't want me here long term, then I'm not going to play for you through injuries, that may motivate Cincinnati to get a trade done so they can get something for a guy that they may not even be positive will be available for them in 2024. I know that's a big hypothetical, but it's not the world's worst hypothetical that could be presented for a guy in a contract year, 25 years old, at a position that gets paid a lot in free agency. I can see where Schefter's coming from. Now, Dan Orlovsky heavily disagreed with Schefter, saying Higgins will play to get paid because the draft every single year is putting out better and better and better wide receivers. And Tee Higgins, if he wants to get top dollar in free agency, no team's going to pay him if he comes off an injury-plagued season. They'll just turn to the draft, which maybe that's true, although I think Tee Higgins has shown us over 4 seasons he's not some fluke. He's not some one-hit wonder. They got injured the next year and then got overpaid, right? Kind of like Kenny Golladay. Like, Tee Higgins has been very consistent throughout his entire NFL career. I personally am going to side with Adam Schefter on this one, that I feel like if Tee Higgins was entering the last few weeks of the season and a hamstring injury popped up and he's looking a few months ahead to free agency, he may make a business decision of what's best for me. That is, not play through this, maybe tear my hamstring altogether, and then take a huge blow to what I could get in free agency. So that could, like I said, motivate the Cincinnati Bengals to try and get a trade done if they're already afraid of, yeah, we'll have him for this year and not beyond that, but what if we don't even have him for much of this year because of how quickly he could pull the plug on himself because of injuries and him not having any guaranteed money beyond 2024. Now, what would a contract extension look like for Tee Higgins? The player I've heard that he's been looking to get in the neighborhood of, and to be honest with you, I don't blame him for this, it is the Colts wide receiver Michael Pittman, who got a nice contract extension before free agency got underway back in March. 3 years, $70 million. So if you're in the camp of let's trade for Tee Higgins, but then you got to extend him, what would it cost? I think he'd probably want to get a little bit more than what Michael Pittman got. Like a 3-year contract worth $71 million, right? It may be that minuscule of a pay jump, but ultimately probably around $23.5 million a season, which, by the way, before all of you say Atlanta can't afford that, they can. I'm just telling you right now, they can. And I'm not even saying that to go full Saints mode when it comes to restructuring contracts. They can get this done financially if they really, really wanted to. Now, I think it would be a good idea for the Falcons to add to their wide receiver room. You've got Drake London, Darnell Mooney, 2 more proven players. Rondale Moore, I think everyone's super excited about Rondale Moore because he was a part of the Desmond Ridder trade, which just meant you got something for Desmond Ridder, who was a dead man walking in Atlanta. But I'm not sold on Rondale Moore being in a spot where he can be a third wide receiver in an offense that under Zach Robinson will utilize a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. In fact, take it one step further. I want to compare the Falcons' top 3 receivers, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts, and the average amount of snaps they got last season compared to what Zach Robinson's LA Rams did last year with their top 3 receivers. Cooper Kupp getting 59 snaps per game compared to Drake London at 53.7. Puka Nacua was second to the Rams, and he would still average more than 5 snaps than Drake London did last year. Tyler Higbee, a tight end, 57. That's 15 more snaps than Kyle Pitts. The point I'm trying to get across here is if the Falcons' offense looks anything like the Rams' offense when it comes to personnel and usage, there's going to be a lot of usage for the receivers, the wideouts, the tight ends. And I think that's a good enough reason alone to add another wide receiver. Yes, I know they signed Darnell Mooney, but I don't think that this roster offensively is currently constructed to lean into what I think schematically they will try to do. Now, all this could be mute if Zach Robinson comes out and plans to do nothing like they did it in LA. But my suspicion is Kirk Cousins coming from Kevin O'Connell, who comes from the Sean McVay tree, and Zach Robinson and Raheem Morris both coming to Atlanta from the Sean McVay tree. We're going to see a lot of similarities between the Falcons offense, the Vikings offense, and the Rams offense. And the Falcons offense is in its own separate universe compared to the personnel usage under Arthur Smith, compared to the way the Rams and the Vikings use their players. And I think more strides have to be made to get closer to that at least zip code of LA and Minnesota. So enter Tee Higgins, who obviously would be a superstar wide receiver addition. And maybe the Falcons add a guy that's not as expensive as Tee Higgins, but what if the Falcons all along have liked Tee Higgins, but just haven't been willing to trade what Cincinnati wants for him? And maybe if the season gets underway and Higgins suffers an injury and decides, I'm making a business decision, that's when Atlanta picks up the phone and goes, we would like to trade for Tee Higgins. He's not going to play for you. He's going to leave in free agency. Take this third-round pick. You're not getting anything better from anywhere else, and you're not getting anything out of Tee Higgins. And Tee Higgins goes, I can definitely make sure this hamstring is ready to go by next Sunday if I've got a 3-year, $72 million extension in front of me. And Atlanta goes, fine by us. We are all in right now under Kirk Cousins because we're trying to get Arthur Blank a Super Bowl while he's still breathing. So would you trade for Tee Higgins? Yes or no? I don't think we'll see a Tee Higgins trade go down before the season begins. I think Cincinnati is dug in on, no, we've got Burrow, we've got Jamar Chase, we've got Trey Hendrickson. We can't guarantee, we're just not rich enough to pay all these guys to keep them all together forever. So we're going to try our very, very best to maximize 2024. But if things get off to a slow start in Cincinnati, they may be motivated to get a trade done, to get something for a guy that's going to be gone in a few months. Now, next up on the show, do the Falcons have a hidden gem? I want to share this really fun story kind of developing out of OTAs and soon minicamp. But first, I want to tell everyone watching about our wonderful sponsor today, which is Prize Picks. That's right, Daily Fantasy Made Easy is ready for Falcons fans because all you've got to do is pick 2 to 6 players and then choose more or less than their projected stats. So let me give you all an example of what I am talking about. Take the upcoming NFL schedule, NFL season. I'm taking the more on Kirk Cousins' season-long passing yards at 4,099. Also taking the less on Jalen Hurts' passing yards because I think they're going to run the ball a lot more in Philly this year, which means I'll take the more on his new running back, Saquon Barkley's rushing yards. So if you like my selections and you want to turn $10 into $1,000, download Prize Picks today and use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video, but download the app today and use code CLNS, say it with me, for a first deposit match up to $100. Casey Washington, the 6th-round pick out of Illinois. Got some eyes on him coming out of Flowery Branch. So it's early. We've had rookie minicamp. We've had a few days of OTAs. This is definitely an overreaction. But the boots on the ground murmurs and chatter is this 6th-round pick out of Illinois is making some headlines. He's making some eyeballs turn his way. Next are moving to number 82. Casey Washington coming out of Illinois, one of the better athletes, we'll put it. Like maybe not the absolute best, but by no means is he some slowpoke or overweight, right? Good size, 6 foot, 200 pounds, ran a solid sub 4.5 40-yard dash. And every single year there tends to be at least one wide receiver from day 3 of the draft that makes a decent name for himself. Last year, that was Puka Nacua. Could Casey Washington be this year's Puka Nacua? I'm not anywhere near that stage yet. Maybe he could be closer to like a Romeo Doubs for the Packers in 2022. Pretty good production for a 4th-round pick, especially with the circumstances of the quarterback carousel, or just the, up and downness, we'll put it in Green Bay. 2021, Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Detroit Lions. I don't know if you guys knew this already, but there were 17 wide receivers, I think, drafted before him. I don't know if he's ever mentioned that before, but I'll share it for him. Darnell Mooney, now the Atlanta Falcons wide receiver. His rookie year with the Bears. 5th-round pick from Tulane, 631 yards. Darius Slayton, 5th-round pick out of Auburn for the Giants, 740 yards, 8 touchdowns. So could Casey Washington be the next Puka Nacua in terms of day 3 rookie wide receivers that just come out of nowhere? I'm not ready to get there yet. I think Casey Washington could have maybe a solid rookie season because the Falcons wide receiver room is so wide open after Drake London and Darnell Mooney that Casey Washington could really push and compete for more snaps than maybe he would get in other wide receiver rooms across the league. What's stopping Casey Washington from surpassing a Kadero Hodge or Rondale Moore? I mean, those are not two guys that are so firmly established that their spots on the depth chart are undoubted. So when you look at the draft class for Atlanta, we're not going to see much of Michael Penix this year, most likely. I think Rook is going to be a rotational player at best. You still have Onyemata and Grady Jarrett. I don't see a starting job for Braylon Trice, at least the beginning of the year. I think Brandon Dorlus also will be a rotational guy. So wouldn't be like the world's craziest thing if like that 6th-round pick from Illinois kind of quietly has the most production out of all the rookies just because of everyone above him that got drafted has a lot more competition at the rooms they were drafted to. Whereas Washington in the wide receiver room, maybe he's the guy that you bring up to your friends at Taco Mac to sound smart. And then October rolls around and they're like, who was it that was telling us about Casey Washington? Oh, yeah, the guy that watches the Falcons Today channel. What a smart dude. We should be more like him. Let's go watch that channel. So who is your favorite Falcons draft pick this year? Let me know in the comment section below. For me, I'd probably go Braylon Trice. He wasn't I preferred some other edge rushers at that spot, to be fully honest and transparent, but he was very productive at Washington. And I asked for production from edge rushers in college, so ask and you shall receive. But that will do it for us on this edition of Falcons Today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really, really appreciate it. If you're still watching, I feel like we haven't done this in a while, scroll on down and give me an ATL so I know who the end of the video crew is.
Can I give a name? I'm going to go Brandon Dorlus.
Okay.
Pick right after Braylon Trice. The reason is, I'm assuming you watched a decent amount of college football last year.
I would say yes. Short answer is yes. Long answer is I am one of those sickos that takes the TV out from the bedroom and puts it in the living room and gets a multiple screen setup. It's very ratchet. I'm just sadly not rich enough to have like a much more uniform setup, but I'll do my living room TV, bedroom TV, and then my iPad. And I got 3.
That's all you need.
Yeah, that's all I need.
There you go. But just kind of rounding back, if you watched Oregon Ducks football last year, you realize that they own the line of scrimmage, both on the offensive side and defensive side. And I think Brandon Dorlus can bring something to this Atlanta Falcons front that they might be needing. So I'm going to go Brandon Dorlus.
Oh, I like that pick. I like that one a lot. We'll have a mailbag, by the way, next or in 2 segments from now. So get those questions in. I see Dat One Falcons fan just got a question in. Taylor Elwell just got a question in. So get your questions in. # Falcons down below. Or Super Chat. What were the 2 Super Chats we had earlier? Let's just throw those on screen for a moment here. We had Grand Limousine, a frequent flyer, if you will, at Falcons Today, and Thomas Guarena. I think we'll go 10-7. Rise up. Appreciate both of you for your Super Chats. Really, really do love you guys for all the support you show us here. So if you want to get on screen, Super Chat like Grand Limousine and Thomas. If you're unable to Super Chat, not a problem. Just at the very least, do like the video. It does a lot to promote the channel and the YouTube algorithm.
Which, by the way, 150 watchers, 65 likes. We can at least get that 50%.
Yeah, we got to get the like number up. I feel like the reason why people don't like videos, and maybe this is just the reason that I don't like videos is, my fear is if you like a video, and I probably shouldn't be saying this because I'm probably not helping myself out here, but maybe other people that don't like the video will relate. You're afraid to like a video because YouTube will overreact to, oh my gosh, this person likes the Falcons. We're only giving them Falcons content now.
Right.
And we're only going to give them Falcons today. It's like, relax.
Or if you like the way YouTube is, and if you like this one video, then it messes up the balance that you have.
Yes, you're like, I kind of like what my feed is giving me at the amount it's giving me. And I don't want to overdo it.
Right.
So at least like that's kind of what goes through my mind sometimes, where I'm like, it takes a lot for me to like or subscribe, because I feel like if I just do it to every single thing I like the first time, then it's just going to get overblown.
Yeah. I mean,
$10 Super Chat rolling in. Let's go.
Let's go.
Robert Champion with a $10 super chat. Robert, thank you so much, dude. Rise up. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Let's go. Everyone spam Robert. That's today's champion right there.
That is.
That's a pretty, I don't know if Robert, your actual last name is Champion. If so, that's a badass last name.
As we get another super
That's
chat
a first bid kind of guy to fraternity and Rush.
Yeah.
Like, dude, Robert Champion, like he can be our chapter president before he even gets initiated.
Yeah.
$3 super chat rolling in from Anthony Pascal with like a baby lemon with pom-poms in his hams cheerleading. Anthony, thank you so much. Rise up, dude. Appreciate you supporting us. Everyone, we got Mr. Champion, Robert Champion, and Anthony Pascal with some super chats. Let's go. Let's go. Let's have ourselves a Thursday. That's what I'm talking about. Span those names. Robert, Anthony, MVP front runners for today's show. Let's go.
100%.
All right. Here we go. Let's get into our record prediction.
You want to do that?
I want to get into it.
Oh, here's the thing. Full disclosure, PD has not mentioned this once before we went live today. Not once. He's so humble about it.
No, I haven't been. I'm going to get some revenge. I'm going to put it that way. I'm coming for people's jobs. I'm going for throats. I'm going head hunting. That's me. Today's video will be like when you watch. Okay, ready? Today's video will be like when YouTube highlights of NFL's biggest hits pull up, and everyone knows the first hit in every single one of those best hits in football. It's the one between the Rams and the Seahawks in St. Louis.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about? That's always the first hit that comes up. And there's another one, college. I think it's Wisconsin and Nebraska. That's also like one of the first three clips and biggest football hits since 2010.
And not to toot my own horn here, but also the Cam Chancellor on Vernon Davis sideline where literally you could see his helmet sweat coming off. I mean, there's a bunch of the what was it? The Broncos dude. That Emmanuel Sanders when he got his head taken off down the sideline.
Emmanuel Sanders is a big one too.
Yeah. So there's a yes.
Taylor Elwell, what's going on, dude? Raffle something, dog. Prize Picks got me playing daily fantasy sports is what I think Taylor meant to say. Yes, you are playing daily fantasy sports, Taylor, at Prize Picks. I'm sure that was just a autocorrect. And hey, that happens, right?
It happens.
Taylor, I don't know when we'll do our next raffle. You guys want another raffle? The issue is like all the good raffle items are just Michael Vick autograph things. And it can get a little redundant. That's all. So I got to find something different.
How about this? Can we
Mason B's here. What's going on, Mason?
Shout out Mason B. How about this?
Yes.
I'm going to propose something to you on the spot.
Okay.
If we can hit a super chat goal today to get a raffle item,
yeah.
What would it be?
I think it would be 200.
200?
Because I think last week we got like to 150-ish.
We did.
It was in that ballpark.
Was a crazy last week.
So it would have to like be above that.
Okay.
All right. We got to improve from last week.
So we have them on record, folks. $200 for super chats. We're currently sitting at just under
We're at 60. We round up. I'm a very nice professor. We round up.
We round up. All right. There we go.
140 away.
140. Let's make it happen.
Alton Upshaw with a $5 super chat. Alton, thank you so much. Rise up, dude. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Everyone spam Alton. Let's go. Anthony, what is more important, free agent, wideout, or cornerback? Who would you take? If both players are equal, like both guys have a 75 Madden grade, I would say cornerback. And here's why. If A.J. Terrell gets hurt, they're fucked. I just don't have the faith and the trust in the secondary depth. If a wide receiver gets hurt, you can lean other ways. The Vikings lost Justin Jefferson last year.
Jordan Addison.
And they won a lot of games without him, actually.
Yeah.
You lose a DB, you can't cover that up, right? You can't tell the offense, please run the ball more. We're not healthy in the secondary. So, great question, Anthony. Really good question. I'd go corner. Robert Champion with a $2 super chat. Let's go. Whoa. I kind of like this super chat. Robert, it's my real name and proud of it. I would be super proud of it.
Yeah. I'm jealous.
I'm very jealous.
I'm very.
Like, that's kind of like the stage name.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Some actors, by the way, I can't think of a specific example right now, have awful first names or like last names, and I don't blame them for using a different name. Robert Champion sounds like a stage name.
Yeah, especially like if you have like a long name that you can't really pronounce or it doesn't just roll off the tongue.
Like Robert Champion's the stage name for like Robert Churandursky. And it's like that wasn't going to work in Hollywood.
What do you think his name would be as a movie character? Like what would his thing be?
I think he's like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I think he just gets to be him.
He gets to be him.
Like that's him.
The real life version.
All right, let's get into my schedule, record prediction, all that good stuff. Robert, really appreciate the super chat. Rise up indeed, dude.
Just get set up for this, but yes, we are about to get into our second segment here. But yeah, hey, you heard Petey said it. $200. We'll get some raffled off. Also, if you want to get in on our mailbag later, another great way to do it. So, without any further ado, Mr. Peterson, are you ready to rock?
I'm excited.
All right, let's do it.
I'm really excited for today's video because we're going to do the American Classic NFL record prediction where everyone gets the schedule and you go down the schedule going win, 17-0. Don't see how we lose a game. Now, before we get into the record prediction, I do want to remind everyone of Atlanta's schedule for this year, including their preseason games, Dolphins, Ravens, Jags. Second straight preseason game where you're the Dolphins, right? They had that last year. So that's how the Atlanta Falcons preseason looks. But for the actual regular season, it'll open up at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers in an Arthur Smith revenge game. Then back-to-back primetime games in Philly on Monday night, home against KC on Sunday night. Then the Saints. They've got 4 primetime games in the first 5 weeks. Bucs Thursday night at home in week 5. Keep in mind, this team did not play a single primetime game last year. Their only standalone game last year, which, by the way, I include as primetime in my head, was the London game. Then Panthers on the road, Seattle at home, at Tampa Bay, get done with the Bucs by week 8. Week 9, the Cowboys come to town. Week 10, it's off to the Big Easy to face the Saints for the first time. Then the second time. Week 11, you got the Broncos on the road, a bye at week 12. Week 13, the Chargers are in town for Thanksgiving. Week 14 is in Minnesota for Kirk Cousins' return to the Vikings. Week 15 at the Raiders on Monday Night Football. Week 16, home against the G-Men. 17 in the nation's capital against the Commanders. And then the year ends at home against Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. So predict the Falcons' record. Last year, I had the Falcons going 8-9. People were very upset last year that I did not have them winning more games, when they ended up going 7-10. And I know that this offseason, I'm not batting 1,000 at my predictions. But I will say last year, I came as close as it could get to batting 1,000 for my record prediction. So Davis, who left this very nice comment on last year's record prediction video saying, I don't think, quote me, I don't think Ritter will string together wins, so give me more unproven QB Sam Howell. Yes, Davis, I do believe Sam Howell is better than Desmond Ritter. And that showed last year when they lost to the Commanders. Or how about this one? He keeps saying Desmond Ritter is not ready to rack up wins, like he all right with the only good offensive player on the team. We also have 3 good running backs. Sorry, dude. I think quarterback is much more valuable than running back, and it showed last year, despite having good running backs. So yeah, when you look at my record prediction from last year, humble brag, started off 9-0. Not so humble. This is not the result of the games. Like, this is what I predicted, and the result being correct. I got Week 10 at Arizona wrong. I had them winning that game, which ended my streak. I got the bye right in Week 11. Week 12 had them beating the Saints at home. They did. Week 13 had them losing to the Jets. They ended up winning that game. Week 14 had them beating the Bucs. They lost that game. Had them beat the Colts, or lose to the Panthers. That was a very unpopular opinion I gave last year on the video. They lost to the Panthers. That got Arthur Smith fired, basically. Then had them beat the Colts, and then lose the last 2 games of the year. I got 3 out of 17 games wrong last year. Went 14 for 17. So without further ado, let's see how I do this year. Week 1, I had them taking down the Pittsburgh Steelers. I feel like Russell Wilson in his first game won't be at peak Russell Wilson level. He got to a slow start with the Broncos back in 2022 with the new team. And I think we'll see a signature Arthur Smith meltdown at home where they're going to be in the red zone in the fourth quarter, a chance to tie the game. And instead of going to their star players, they do some weird play with the backup tight end, and it results in a turnover on 4th and goal, and Atlanta gets the last laugh with Arthur Smith. Week 2 at Philadelphia, Monday night. I've got them losing to the Eagles. Big reason why I have them losing this game isn't so much because the Eagles are a good team and it's on the road. It's because the Eagles in Week 1 play on Friday, which means they go into Week 2 Monday night with 10 days of rest. In fact, teams that play historically on that Thursday night, which is a little bit different, it's Friday night for the Eagles down in Brazil, but not too far off. Look at the last 4 or 5 years of teams after playing Week 1 on Thursday Night Football. Last year, you had the Lions and Chiefs. What did they do the next game? Lions lost, Chiefs won. Bills, Rams the year before, both those teams won. Bucs, Cowboys the year before, both those teams won the next week. The point is, the teams that play on Thursday night Week 1 and get some extra rest before Week 2 tend to do very well. Week 3, I have them losing to the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. I could be very easily convinced to changing this one to a win. In fact, as good as the Chiefs are, and this is not a very bad stat, but it's a little bit surprising, Kansas City in primetime games in the first 6 weeks of the season since Patrick Mahomes became the quarterback in 2018, only 8-5, which I think for the Chiefs is a little surprising because they're the Chiefs, but still, the Chiefs tend to be somewhat vulnerable early in the year in primetime matchups, like last year at home against the Lions. Week 4, I've got them taking down the Saints for the first of their 2 matchups with New Orleans and getting off to a solid 2-for-2 start despite having a really, difficult first few games at Kansas City or at Philadelphia, Chiefs, and the Steelers and Saints are not, gimme games. I mean, 3 of these teams were in the playoffs last year, and the one that wasn't still went 9-8 a season ago. Now, who you got, by the way? Falcons or Saints? Let me know down below in the comment section. I'm taking ATL. Our Saints host here at Chat Sports, Trace Gerard, he talks a lot of smack about Atlanta, and I can't wait for Week 4 to get here. Week 5 against the Buccaneers at home on Thursday Night Football. I've got this down as a win as well, putting the Falcons up to 3-2. The Falcons on Thursday Night Football since 2010, they're an even 7-7. So you know what? How about we make that 8-7 with a win against the Buccaneers? Week 6 for a third straight NFC South showdown against the Panthers on the road. I've got that as a win as well. Unfortunately, they come home to play the Seahawks. I've got this one as a loss. I feel like maybe after some of the momentum and high of winning 3 straight NFC South games, they kind of overlooked the Seahawks a little bit, and Seattle surprises the Falcons at home. Week 8 at Tampa Bay, got this one down as a loss. I know I'm doing my job wrong if I don't have them going undefeated, but ultimately I could see them splitting the series with Tampa Bay, and that wouldn't be the worst result for them winning the division last year and going 500 against them the next year. Now, before we get to the rest of my record prediction video here, make sure to get started with our friends over at Fanatics to get your hands on a brand new Kirk Cousins jersey. Go to chatsports.com/Cousins. You don't want to be wearing, not that anyone probably has a Desmond Ridder jersey, but you don't want to be wearing an old jersey. Get a brand new Kirk Cousins jersey today so you can rock it at the next tailgate. Week 9, home against the Cowboys, win. I'm putting my life savings on this game being a win. I have a big feeling that this is going to be the Dallas Cowboys' signature midseason road loss because the fan base and the team feels like they are superior to everyone else in the National Football League, and they get punked. Kind of like last year. They lost to the Arizona Cardinals on the road. Felt like that was just a bye game for them. They were playing an FCS opponent. They're going to have that same attitude this year, and I can't wait for them to get shit pumped in Atlanta. Week 10 in New Orleans, it's a win. It's a win. It's a season sweep. Maybe there's just a little bit of me trying to speak this into existence, but I could see the Falcons sweeping the New Orleans Saints for the first time since 2016, paving the way to an NFC South championship. Week 11, they go on the road to the Denver Broncos. I've got this one down as a loss. My justification for this loss, not that I really need any, is this just gives me like, Southern team playing up north in November, not good vibes, right? If it's snowing, they're fucked. That's just a fact right now. In fact, I did some research, not that anyone asked, but some chat stats, if you will. The Broncos at home against dome or just warm weather cities, and I was the judge what was a warm or not warm weather city, against teams at home in November since 2000, Broncos are 12-10. Not that that's actually a very impressive stat, to be honest, for Denver, but I think that could be another win for the Broncos and the Falcons. Just November up in the mountains, that's not where they're made to thrive. Week 12, they finally have their bye week. That sets them up for a Week 13 home game against the Chargers. And this is your patented, the world is falling. Like, every fan base usually has that one game a year, and it's coming out of the bye where you're like, we're home. We got 2 weeks to prepare for the Chargers. That's got to be a win. Oh my God, the season's over. I can't believe we lost that game. That's that game this year. Week 14, it's the Kirk Cousins revenge game in Minnesota against his former team. I mean, Kirk Cousins said this will be emotional for him. There's going to be so many familiar faces there. It's a homecoming for him and his family. And we've seen a lot of really good recent games of quarterbacks against their former team. And it is about 50-50 in terms of who wins, the quarterback or the former team. Deshaun Watson, his first year with the Browns, his first game was against his former team, the Houston Texans. He won that game, not because of Watson's play, though. Baker, when he played the Browns for his first game with the Carolina Panthers, he lost. Russ against the Seahawks, he lost. Brady beat the Patriots. Stafford and Goff played against each other, so one had to win, one had to lose. Stafford got the better of the exchange. Darnold, his first game for the Carolina Panthers was against the New York Jets. He won. Peyton Manning, I went back all the way to Manning because that was kind of the most famous revenge quarterback game of the decade, I would say. Him going up against the Colts. Denver was undefeated at the time, 6-0. They lost. Now, before we get on to the rest of today's schedule breakdown video and record prediction, help us reach 21,700 subscribers. We're 60 subs away, so if you're looking for a go-to Falcons YouTube channel all off-season long, hit the sub button down below. Week 15, after taking down the Vikings, I've got them beating the Raiders on the road, Monday Night Football, and this is when the Falcons kind of graduate from the in the hunt graphic to, and with this win, the Falcons are leading the NFC South. That's that moment right there on Monday Night Football where you watch SVP way past your bedtime because you want to soak that win in. Week 16, home against the Giants, another win. I told you that after the meltdown loss against the Chargers, this locker room would have a players-only meeting, need one of those, and then they string off 3 in a row. However, I have them losing on the road Week 17 against the Commanders. I actually think, familiar face Dan Quinn, he's going to get the things turned around quickly in D.C., I think. So I'll have the Washington Commanders win that game, and it will be kind of a Dan Quinn revenge game, although there's been plenty of those since then. Week 18 against the Panthers at home. I've got this down as a win. The Falcons close out the season going 4-1, and thus going 10-7, winning the NFC South as well, hosting a playoff game, and I don't know who against it would be. I'll just say it would be against NFC West opponent. Give me the Rams. 49ers win the division. The Rams come to town. Falcons-Rams. Falcons win that game. And then Matthew Stafford retires. All right, that will do it for us on today's show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed my record prediction. I did pretty well last year. Let's see if I can beat last year's 14-3 mark. Hit the sub button down below, though, for more Falcons content all off-season long. I needed that. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I got a lot of heat the last couple months in the comment section for missing on, in chronological order, Belichick, Fields, and Dallas Turner.
Yeah.
I needed this. By the way, full peek behind the curtain moment here, because that reminds me of the Dallas Turner. I do owe you guys a drunk episode. I haven't forgotten about that. The reason why I put it off was I took about a 5-week break from drinking. Was trying to lose some weight. I got engaged over this past weekend I wanted to look a little bit better for that. So I gave up the booze, gave up the beer for a little while there to, shed some poundage. And I'm engaged now, which means I'm back to the sauce, which means we can get back to the Dallas Turner Drunk episode. So that'll be happening sometime in the next, 2 weeks or so. I'll pick a day. I'll publicize it on the channel. I won't do it at work, so it'll be like on a Friday or Saturday where I'm off at home at night. And we'll come up with a fun topic to do, like a drunk history kind of moment, and I'll just start throwing them back. And it'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Okay.
Am I going to be there?
I guess Cullen will have to be there. I'll have Cullen over. That's right. We'll go to Total Wine beforehand.
There we go.
We'll just clear out the section.
What to say? We got a lot of more stuff, though, to go here today on the stream. So we got our mailbag coming up.
Mailbag, hashtag Falcons, or Super Chat. If you want to guarantee a spot on screen, use hashtag Super Chat, and producer Cullen will throw it on immediately. If you want to go the hashtag Falcons route, no problem at all. Just Cullen picks his favorite games. That's all. Or favorite questions. Sorry, getting all discombobulated.
Speaking of games, I think you may even be underselling the Falcons a little bit. Like, I could see them push it. Here's the thing. Realistically, again, Kirk Cousins' health aside, we're assuming that's good. Knock on wood. I really think this team is, you had it at 8.5 in your question. I think double digits.
You think they're 11? You think they're 11? I think it's 10-7.
Yeah. 11 wins I don't think is ridiculous.
How about this? If I had to pick, if someone told me, like, from the future, they don't win 10 games, my next guess would be 11 before 9.
Yes.
That's where I'm leaning towards as well.
Okay.
Is that fair?
That's fair. But yeah, I definitely think they win their division this year, and I'm really interested. I think this could be one of the most exciting years in Atlanta Falcons football, maybe in the last decade.
Yep.
I could argue.
Okay, let's get into our mailbag. Hashtag Falcons or Super Chat. If any of the Super Chats had a question in them, we'll put them towards the front of the video.
No, I got you.
Okay. I talked to Cullen as if it's his first day. Which, by the way, we do have a producer here who's like, not his first day, but he's still a rookie. He's still learning the ropes. So he may be doing, I don't know, hopefully not. Sorry. Yikes. He'll improve.
He will.
I just like my battery mate, me and Cullen.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we ready to jump into the mailbag? I like how I always say, are we ready? It's 100% dependent on me. I include you guys in this as if you're not ready right now. Mm-hmm. Like someone's driving and they're like, hold the fuck on. Let me pull over right now. Then we can start the mailbag, PD.
It's just one of those, like, you're getting yourself hyped up. You're like, PD, are we ready?
All right. Let's get into a mailbag. Hashtag Falcons or Super Chat. Mailbag time here on Falcons Today, answering questions from our live show, which airs every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Kevin C33, what's going on, dude? What do you think about trading for Robert Woods? I've heard some very low-level buzz about maybe Robert Woods being traded because the Texans traded for Stephon Diggs. Tank Dell is awesome. Nico Collins is rising. So Robert Woods may see himself fall down the depth chart a little bit. Last year for the Houston Texans, 426 yards. Remember, he was with the Rams for a while. Then, unfortunately, he tore his ACL in practice in that 2020 season. Wasn't really the same after that with the Titans or the Rams. I'd be open to trading for Robert Woods. I've been very outspoken on this channel that I feel like Atlanta needs to go add another wide receiver. So, yeah, I feel like Robert Woods for a very low-level cost, we're talking probably like a 6th or 7th round pick going over to Houston, would be something I would sign off on. Now, what do you guys think about this? Would you trade for Robert Woods? I would be open to trading for Robert Woods. He's not my number one target or anything like that, but if I get a notification the Atlanta Falcons have traded for Robert Woods, my initial reaction is not going to be, this is a bad idea. It'll be like, you know what? I don't see a downside to this. I only see an upside because it's not going to cost you very much at all. Next one coming in from Thomas Guerrera. I think we go 10-7, rise up. I, too, had the Falcons going 10-7 in my record prediction video. I invite you all to go watch that after this video. It's up on the channel. Archangel, what's going on, buddy? Could Clark Phillips possibly be Brent Grimes 2.0? That's a blast from the past. Let's go. I love when Brent Grimes was once on the league in a cameo. I was like, is that Brent Grimes? Yes, I suppose. I just feel like I can't give a really honest answer because I just haven't seen enough of Clark Phillips. But yeah, I could see a world where Clark Phillips kind of has that type of career. Next question coming in from our friend, longtime viewer Taylor Elwell. Is it a bad thing we got so many primetime games with Kirk being cheeks at night? Let's throw up the Falcons' first 8 or 10 games, Colin, if we could for a moment, because that's when a bulk of Atlanta's primetime games are. They have one Monday Night Football game in Las Vegas towards the end of the season. But, Taylor, you're right that the Falcons have a lot of primetime games, right? Monday night, Sunday night, Thursday night in the first 5 weeks. I'm going to push back on the Kirk sucks at night. The primetime Kirk Cousins jokes kind of ended because he started to win a good amount of games in primetime. The guy won a playoff game in New Orleans. Like, it doesn't get more primetime than that. So, I don't know if that's really all that true anymore. I will say, Kirk Cousins at Philadelphia, and I believe it's been week 2, multiple seasons, he has been cheeks. Like, last year, he played at Philly on Thursday night. They got the doors blown off. I think the season before that, because I have a core memory of sitting in B-dubs watching Vikings Eagles week 2, and someone watching, please fact check me for 2022, also got the doors blown off. So that one I am afraid of, to be honest with you guys. But if they go 1-2 in that Eagles Chiefs Bucs primetime stretch, that's a very attainable record to still have a successful season with. Speaking of Kirk Cousins, by the way, if you want to get yourself a Kirk Cousins jersey, we have them available for you all at fanaticschatsports.com/cousins. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. But get yourself a brand new Falcons jersey. My only advice or suggestion would be do it now, just because if you think you might want to do it later and you like to procrastinate like I do, when August rolls around and you order a jersey and then you find out it won't be here for a handful of weeks, you'll be super bummed. So do future you a favor, get a Kirk Cousins jersey today. Lav S. Does Bijan hit 2,000 receiving and rushing this year? Bijan last year had 976-ish yards. Can you fact check me, please, Colin? Bijan had 976, 75. Not typing, I'm just going off the top of my head. And he had 500, 450 receiving yards. Producer Colin Brown's about to fact check me. What do you have?
Okay, so what did you say for rushing?
976.
Correct. And how many for receiving?
This one I'm not so confident about. 425.
You were not far off. 487.
487. So put that together, a little under 1,500 yards. Yeah, I would say 2K combined is very much in play for Bijan. In fact, I would, think he's more inclined to get 2,000 than not get 2,000 this year. Robert Champion, what's the plan for edge rusher? Are we going to trade for someone or just work it out? I think the plan is that Raheem Morris and the Falcons could only put out so many fires this offseason. Pass rusher, quarterback. And they attacked quarterback. And I don't blame them for that. Quarterback's going to have more impact on wins and losses than defensive ends do. And then the plan B is, all right, I'm going to bet on myself, being Raheem Morris, that I can coach up an Arnold Ebiketie, a Lorenzo Carter, a Zach Harrison, and give me 2 or 3 draft picks, and I'll put together a committee pass rush that will not be top 10 in the league, but it won't be bottom 10. And we're going to make do with being middle of the pack. And that's actually a pretty bold claim for a coach to make, but coaches love to bet on themselves with players. GMs love to bet on themselves with draft picks. So what's the plan? The plan is for Raheem Morris to do one hell of a job coaching up some of these pass rushers and get a good, solid rotation and committee going where you probably don't get a single guy that gets 10 sacks, but you hope to get a bunch of guys between 4 and 8 sacks. And you're okay with finishing 21st in sacks in the NFL. Dat one Falcons fan, 2 things for you. Falcons cut Heineke and John Paddock to save cap space and sign Jake from State Farm. 2, Falcons give Cincinnati a 2025 first, second, and fourth for Trey Hendrickson. Who says no? First, you're not saving any money by cutting John Paddock. He's a UDFA out of Illinois. There's no dead cap hit, so you wouldn't cut him to save cap space. You could cut Heineke, though, to save cap space. So if Paddock looks better or as good as Heineke does, you could move on from Heineke to save some money. 2, I don't think it would cost a first and a second. That's an overpay right there. If a player makes a trade request, the team that has that player loses a lot of leverage. which means teams aren't going to make an overwhelming offer for that player. So I think it would be a third and like a fourth for Trey Hendrickson, just because that trade request has already been made. And now we're getting closer to the season, so maybe some desperation creeps in to get a trade done. So maybe a third and another third, like 2/3, somewhere in that neighborhood. But definitely not a first and a second and a fourth. That's an overpay. George Washington, do you think Zach Robinson will put a Penix package in just so we can get on the field? Good question, Mr. President. No, I don't. Because I don't think Penix can bring anything to the table that Kirk Cousins can't. Like, Penix is probably faster, but it's not like, don't think Michael Penix is some rushing quarterback. No, he's a passer. Let's not kid ourselves here. He's got athleticism to him, but no, I don't think this is like a Marcus Mariota type draft pick where in the red zone you can do some design quarterback runs with him. Also, Penix has a lot of injuries, so I'm sure the Falcons coaching staff are not dying to make him run into NFL linebackers as a rookie. So I don't think we'll see many Penix packages, if any at all. Falcons prods, what's going on, buddy? The Falcons are going 12-5. Kirk is going to show how talented this roster is with a capable QB at the helm, and I think the defense can improve. I do have my concerns over the defense. The defensive coordinator left, Ryan Nielsen. I don't think we can guarantee that the new DC, Jimmy Lake, is any better because we saw how good Nielsen was in a quick turnaround. And their top 2 sack leaders from last year are gone. Bud Dupree's with the Chargers, and as I film this right now, Calais Campbell is a free agent. So there's a lot of wishful thinking. And hey, sometimes that happens in the NFL where guys do take that next step and, people bet on certain players graduating and improving, and they do. But I'm not ready to just declare it as it's a done deal. This defense will be better. The offense will be a lot better. That's for sure. Robert Kelly, with the release of defensive end Aid Ogunjobi, do we use the cap savings for defensive end Calais Campbell? My issue is the Falcons have made a lot of additions at Calais Campbell's position. James Smith-Williams, they signed him from the Commanders in free agency. They drafted Brandon Dorless. Zach Harrison was a third-round pick last year. Those are 3 players right there. The Falcons have playing time, snaps, roles envisioned for. And they could have gone with Calais Campbell over James Smith-Williams or you wouldn't, Brandon Dorless is a rookie versus a 16, 17-year-old vet, but I feel like the door may be closing for a Calais Campbell return. Aid Ogunjobi was released, though, earlier. Saved $3.1 million in cap space, 2021 fifth-round pick out of Notre Dame. Missed all of last year with a foot injury, so unfortunate for him, but best of luck to Aid in his NFL career, wherever it takes him next. Brody Brown, will Casey Washington make a single catch this year? Yes. I will make that prediction. Casey Washington, the 6th-round pick out of Illinois, will make at least one reception. I am confident about that. In all seriousness, Casey Washington has been one of the storylines from OTAs and rookie minicamp. All eyes are on Michael Penix, but as people watch Penix, they also notice that receiver he's throwing to is doing a really good job as well. So keep an eye on, I think, number 82. Archangel, we'll get your question on screen. Oh, that's for, he was helping someone else out. We got another question coming on in just a moment here. Make sure to tune into our live shows, by the way. If you have a question you want to ask, hashtag Falcons or Super Chat if you would like to get on screen. Who will be the next cut? We'll end the mailbag with this question right here. Who will be the next cut? Man, no one really jumps out to me. If you were going to make cuts, you're kind of at that spot. So I wish I had a better answer for you, Archangel. We got one more question, but for now, no, I feel bad. I'm not doing my job. Next cut, maybe Richie Grant if he doesn't look good at all, but I don't think that's very likely. Marlon Kuzi. Marlon, what's going on, man? What's up, PD and Falcons fam? I believe that we'll still go 12-5. Captain Kirk will have a huge role in the boys' success this year. I'm going 10-7, but you know what? If it's not 10-7, I'm much more inclined to believe it's 11-6 compared to 9-8. All right, that will do it for us on today's mailbag. To those of you that ask questions during our live show via hashtag Falcons or Super Chat, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Really, really appreciate it. And if you want to be on a future mailbag, use hashtag or come hang out with us, Thursdays, 5 p.m. Eastern.
That was also a super chat from Marlon Cousy.
Marlon, let's go, bud. Appreciate you, Marlon. We'll throw it back on screen for Marlon.
Yep, I got you. Well, you gotcha.
Taylor, who's the sack leader next year? Grady Jarrett, right? It sounds like he's making tremendous progress on his ACL recovery. I would go with Grady Jarrett. He's the best defensive lineman on this team. So, or Arnold Ebiketie. Maybe I'll go with Arnold. I'll go with Arnold. I'm changing. Arnold Ebiketie. He will lead the team with 7 sacks. That's my prediction. Mason B, what's going on, dude? Petey, I need your help. I need last-minute tickets to the game this weekend. Do you have a good site that I can find quality seats? Do you have a secret code I could use to get a discount? I think Mason B is referring to our friends at Game Time.
Yeah.
Game Time, get $20 off when you use code CHATSPORTS. Mason, whichever game you're going to, use Game Time. They weren't even a sponsor for today's video, but we're going to help our friends over at Game Time out because they always help us out. So, Mason B, check out Game Time, code CHATSPORTS. All right. If we get some more super chats, we'll keep the show going. Otherwise, we do have to sign off. It's a busy day here just because everyone's trying to do a record prediction video, and Colin and I have kind of squatted in Studio F, and the doors are going to start knocking soon.
They will.
But if we get some super chats, we can kick them out. Otherwise, we do have to hand it over to the next channel. Although, Chat Sports Rumors, we might be expanding soon. That'd be really fun. And then we don't have to get evicted from our own studios by our coworkers. So we'll see. That's probably still a ways away.
It's true.
But
also,
all super chats help out with that, by the way.
Also, too, if we get to $200 in super chats today, we're going to have a raffle item coming soon.
Let's do this. I really like this question from NC Show. Let's put this question from NC Show on.
Yep.
And if we get a super chat before I finish answering that question, we'll keep the show going. If not, we'll say goodbye and see you all later. NC Show. Which team are you looking forward, looking to facing the most? And which one are you like we're going to get crushed this year? So which team am I looking forward to the most, and which team am I thinking the Falcons will get crushed? Let's toss out NFC South because that's just every single year. Let's run through Atlanta's schedule. I'm excited for the Steelers week 1. Like, that's just a kind of a fun week 1 matchup. You don't really see that one very often. Falcons-Steelers to open up the year. Other games, actually, I'll tell you this one. Let's go to the weeks 9 through 18. Which one am I most excited for? I would say Cowboys at home. Cowboys at home, that's a fan base that's very spoiled. They think they're entitled to every single win. I'd go with the Cowboys. Second place would be Vikings for Kirk Cousins. Now, what team do they get crushed by? I got a bad feeling about that Chargers game. Just one of those gut feelings of, uh-oh. Don't like that one. And even though it's after the bye, which makes even less sense, that game gives me bad vibes. Chiefs at home, Sunday Night Football Week 3. That could be one of those games where the Falcons lose and everyone's ready just to kind of move on from Atlanta. Oh, they're 1-2. Or even if they start off 0-3, God forbid. And then the Falcons start to kind of settle in a little bit, right? Pick up some division wins, which feel like 2 wins essentially. Get Seahawks at home, Bucs, and then you start to string together some wins, and all of a sudden the In the Hunt graphic is up around Thanksgiving. It's like, whoa, we were ready to just deem the Falcons dead, and now they're 500 with an easy schedule up ahead. So I would go with the Cowboys game and then that Chargers game.
I'll answer this as well, just because it's up here.
Yep.
I think the toughest game, honestly, is going to be that Week 3 matchup.
Yeah.
Right? It is at home, but the Chiefs, especially under Andy Reid, they are great starting off the year. I mean, his September record's like one of the best in NFL history. And, it is in a dome, which doesn't really favor either team, but I just feel like Patrick Mahomes and that whole crew, they're going to be firing on all cylinders. The game I'm most interested in, I mean, I got to say, it's the Week 7 game. I mean, chances are I'm going to be here for it. And if you don't know...
That's Colin's team, by the way. He's a Seahawks fan.
I am. And I'll just say this. Me and Petey will have something on the line for that.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one. You're right.
So,
all right. That will do it for us. Jason Greenway, who is your breakout player this year? CLNS Pump the Brakes ATL. Breakout player. Do I say pump the brakes a lot? Maybe I do.
No, you don't.
I don't?
No.
I don't know.
That's a phrase I've never heard you say.
Breakout player for the Atlanta Falcons this year. I think Drake London. I think Drake London now joins that tier of really good ascending young wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think he's there right now just because he was the 8th overall pick in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And he has shown that he's a good football player.
Right.
But he hasn't had crazy production yet.
Yeah.
Hasn't been a 1,000-yard guy. Hasn't been an 8-10 touchdown season guy yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the year with Kirk Cousins where everyone goes, whoa. Drake London is the real deal.
It's kind of tough. I'm doing this kind of on the spot. I'm between two. I think Jesse Bates, the free safety, I think he has the potential to be first-team All-Pro. I think he's that special.
He is.
And
he should have been last year.
Honestly. So that one's kind of a cop-out, but I'll say Kyle Pitts hasn't quite lived up to the potential where Atlanta drafted him yet. I think in this offense, especially with the Falcons' additions at tight end, I feel like they're very much catering to the fact that Pitts is our target at the tight end position. I think they're going to feed him a lot. I think he's going to have a career year.
Right. All right, that will do it for us on our live show today. To everyone that super chatted, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. For everyone that's watching, you're awesome. Like the video, all that good stuff. Really, really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you all later.